Hey guys, Maniac here with GameAccess.net doing a quick little video because actually another video I did similar to this was pretty popular. A lot of people commented on it. I'm going to start what I call right now, I got this little box here just arrived from Amazon, and I'm going to refer to it as probably Spoony's Box of Horrors, because what's in this box is actually going to be some things that the Spoony One actually is going to be very upset that I picked up. But that having been said, I have noticed as of recently, what's in this box is actually going to be quite interesting, and I want to talk about it because I want to talk about what the repercussions of what's in this box actually are. So what do you say we open this up and see what everything is? Hopefully everything is exactly, I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. But I do know what I bought, of course. I just want to make sure that it is indeed what I purchased in the condition of which I purchased it. Now, the great thing about Amazon and eBay and a few other things is that I can get a lot of these old games which are no longer available at retail. Now I can get them exactly as I remember them in the boxes and everything else. And from the looks of it, looks like, yep, everything is packed together properly. Got this little spot right here. Actually, I gotta give it to Amazon. They actually packed this quite well. Looks like it's, yep, it looks like it's all factory sealed exactly as I was hoping for. So let's pull this out. Apologies for that. And but it looks like everything is exactly as I was expecting it, and I'm happy that Amazon did a fantastic job in packing it. So props to Amazon for that. I didn't even pay for shipping. I got free shipping on this. But, yep, looks like it's okay. What do you say we pull out the most infamous of this and move on from there? We're about to pull out first Final Fantasy VIII for the original PlayStation. This is probably the game that made Spoony famous, actually. It is considered to be probably one of the worst games ever by him. Probably, if not the worst game ever. In fact, I think he said Final Fantasy X was probably worse. You can get this game right now if you're a collector like me or just slightly interested. If you've seen Spooner's review of it, I hardly recommend it because it's hilarious to watch, especially his later videos. Some of his earlier stuff, it takes him a while to get going. But once you hit, like, I believe right after episode 6 or 7 or something like that, the videos are really, really good. And Dr. Insano gets elected president. Trust me, everybody wants to see that. But this right here was maybe a little bit less than $20 without free shipping on Amazon. So let's just keep that in mind, shall we? This was what? This was $19. You know what? We'll say $20. We'll say this cost $20. Next up, there's my packing list. Don't worry about that. Final Fantasy IX. The original PlayStation. Right here. Spoony did not say he's played this game. In fact, he said that he tried playing it and he couldn't get into it because of the characters. This has actually been at the stage is considered to be probably the #1 or #2 of the best PlayStation 1 games of all time. In fact, I think it was actually #2. He chose this game for the #2 slot over Final Fantasy VII because when he did that list, Ben at the stage said that he was only going to keep it to one game per series. That having been said, actually, in case you're curious, like where was Metal Gear on that list? Metal Gear was #1, if I remember correctly. But it was right up there next to Metal Gear. He did not include Final Fantasy VII on that list. Next up. Oh, by the way, this was, I think it was $15. Let's say $15, brand new. And this is sealed, too. Completely sealed. Final Fantasy X. Considered to be ranked one of the probably the 4th best game ever made by IGN, at least according to what I read about it, like a list of games. This was a little bit less than $20 on Amazon, brand spanking new. As you can see, this is factory sealed. I'm noticing actually that a lot of these games don't have their factory stickers on them. At least these don't. Later PlayStation releases did. For the 2 releases dating around, at least around 2005 they didn't. But I am surprised that there's no factory sticker on these, but it does look like it's the original PlayStation seal. They look to be perfectly like they've never been touched before. This right here is considered to be probably, he considered this worse than Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy VIII, he considered this worse than Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy VIII, he considered this worse than Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy VIII, he considered this worse than Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy VIII, he considered this worse than Final Fantasy VIII. I don't know. Actually, when I talked to my Final Fantasy game friends, Twitch basically told me when I told them that I wanted to pick up all these games, he told me, get Final Fantasy X and then just download Final Fantasy VI on the Wii Virtual Console or something. But don't buy the rest of these games. But he did recommend this one too. So this game has actually been majorly recommended by everybody. I'm picking this up. This was $20. So far, I haven't paid more than $20 a game yet. And we're going to get to the last one. Final Fantasy X-2. This is the sequel to Final Fantasy X. Came out shortly afterwards. In fact, I had a PlayStation when these games were out. I believe I always remember Final Fantasy X being $20 every time I was looking for it. Final Fantasy X-2, however, I think that one actually might have been released slightly differently. But this also factory sealed. This was $14. This was like 13 change on Amazon. This wasn't even 15 or 20. This was the least expensive game that I picked up on Amazon. Now, why am I telling you all this, and why am I showing you this stack of probably about $65 worth of old video games? Why am I showing you all this? Because, and why is it that if I picked up all these Final Fantasy games, why didn't I pick up like a quote-unquote good Final Fantasy game? You know, Final Fantasy X notwithstanding, a lot of people would say that. Or why didn't I pick up Final Fantasy 13? Well, I'm kind of waiting on Final Fantasy 13. I'm waiting for what, I have no idea, but I'm kind of waiting on that one. I'll probably pick it up at some point. But that having been said, what I really want is a copy of Final Fantasy VII. And to be perfectly honest, Final Fantasy VII was in print just as long as these games were as well. In fact, actually, I remember when I was getting the PS2 games, when PS2 games were available, these games were still in print, and these games were still in stores. They're not anymore, of course. You can't usually find these games in stores because stores usually are only selling PS3 and Xbox 360 and Wii games, although to be perfectly honest, I've noticed recently that they're really cutting back on what they're selling. And I can't find a copy of Devil May Cry HD anywhere. So, yeah, I mean, something is going on. And right now, if you want to be a video game collector, you're basically forced to go to online retail as opposed to big box stores because the big box stores aren't selling these games anymore. And check your bargain bins because you'll find some really good games in there right now. But that all having been said, what about Final Fantasy VII? If this game was in print, shouldn't this be just as much? No. A brand new copy of Final Fantasy VII costs $250. That is borderline antitrust. I am seriously going to be looking into that one. There is no reason, if this game costs the same amount that this game costs, or just about, and they were in print for the same amount of time, probably had the same amount. Heck, Final Fantasy VII probably had more copies made because they knew that game was just as much. I know these games all got re-released. Final Fantasy VII got re-released. As you can see, these are not the initial release games. These are re-releases and stuff like that. But these are sealed, brand new copies of the game from the publisher, probably also. You know, these are not used games. These are new. Granted, like I said, they're not initial runs, but these are brand new copies of these games. They cost less than $20 a piece. Can you please explain to me that if Final Fantasy VII was in that same lot, or at the very least was probably released just as much, it costs $250. There is no legitimate reason why, other than possibly the demand. But I'll be perfectly honest with you. If the demand for Final Fantasy VII or original copies of Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1 are so high, then there is absolutely no reason why Square Enix, who likes money, should not just simply re-release the game. And I'm not saying do an HD port or something like that. Just re-release it. Go back to your original ISOs of the game for the PS1 and just simply re-release it as a PS1 game. Konami did it when popularity for Metal Gear games came back. Before Metal Gear Solid 4 was released, Konami actually went back and re-released Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear Solid 2, and Metal Gear Solid 3 in a $30 collection. It was not an HD, it was the original disc. They didn't update them. They later did the HD collection. That was a separate release. And for those of you who've seen my unboxing, the HD collection, know I did show both of those in the game. But those were basically the untouched, unported game. They just did a new printing of it. Square Enix. It's obvious if your game is selling for $250, don't you deserve a cut of that? Re-release Final Fantasy VII. Just do it. Just do a reprinting. And I know you're going to say, well, it costs money to reprint those games. Yeah. If the game is selling right now for $250, don't you honestly think that they'll make up their money? I sure think they would. And whatever it was that they reprinted, if they reprint that game, I guarantee you it'll be pretty. They'll just basically be reprinting money if the game costs that much. Well, it's just something I wanted to talk about, guys. I don't intend on doing an unboxing of these games really right now. Also, another game that I picked up, I didn't bring it down with me because I bought it separately. I also picked up Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core for the PlayStation Portable. I picked that up for $10, $5 shipping. I know I could have gotten shipping waived if I was smart, but I didn't think about it at the time. I got it, but I did basically pay $10 with $5 shipping on it. And that having been said, I did notice something about it. I'll probably do a separate video about that one and show you that that one later, because the packaging was a bit different on that one, even though I did get it brand new sealed. So, just wanted to show these to you guys. You can get these games brand new. I know Spoony is probably, if he's even watching this video at all, which I seriously doubt it, but I should post it on. I should link this video on his forums just as a joke. It's probably saying, why would you buy these? To be perfectly honest, my interest was piqued in these based upon Spoony's reviews of them. I just felt close to the games after seeing them played out, and I really wanted to have a chance to play them myself. And I felt lucky in the fact of that they were like less than $20 a piece. That seemed like a fine deal for me, and perfectly fine for my cost. The downside is, of course, the other game that I would have liked to have picked up in this lot was Final Fantasy VII, and I guarantee you I would have picked that up if that was just as moderately priced as the rest of them were. But for some odd reason, Final Fantasy VII is exorbitantly priced, and I can't figure out a reason why. I can understand maybe the PC version, because that was probably slightly a bit more rare, but the PS1 version, I've seen that in shelves just as much as I've seen these other games on shelves. Square just re-released the damn game. There's no reason why not to. So take care, guys. I just wanted to bring this check to you, this information to you, just kind of give a reality check about what's going on right now. I'm saying right now, the second these games leave the shelves, their price is being jacked up, and I have no idea why. Collector's editions, that's one thing separate. These are normal editions of the games. Granted, they were released last generation. But I saw last week, Star Fox Adventures was like maybe about 14 or 15, not Star Fox Adventures, Star Fox Command. No, not even Star Fox Command. Star Fox Assault for the GameCube. A couple weeks ago it was at $14, $15 on Amazon. Now it's at $90. Did it really sell that much in the last couple of weeks? Maybe, but I seriously doubt it. I can't figure that one out. Well, just wanted to show this to you guys. Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick postscript to that video. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation Portable. This is currently about $10 on Newegg or Amazon. Yeah, I had to pay full price for shipping, but in Newegg, if you really wanted to, you could probably get enough to waive shipping on it. But this is the box right here. The one thing, the reason why I bring this up is because I have not actually seen a box art that looks like this. As you can see from right here, this is the whole box. And I know for a fact that there were, when this game first came out at the $30 or $40 price tag, I had a holographic cover or a slightly different cover. This doesn't have that, but as far as I care, it's the same game inside, so it doesn't really matter to me what the box looks like. But one thing I did notice is that this has this little favorites bar up on top of the package, and I've just never seen that before on a PSP line of any type of games. I was just curious if anybody else has seen it in any other games, and which games, and if this is something that's usually seen in the United States, because I haven't seen this here. If there was something similar, let's say the Greatest Hits edition or something like that, it would look, I don't have any Greatest Hits editions of my games here, but they would be red, like the whole top portion of it would be red, similar to how some of the PlayStation 2 games looked. See right here. Hold on. Like this right here, Siphon Filter, the Omega String, which I just picked up. Also, as you can see right here, the top portion of the PS2 edition is red. It's a Greatest Hits label. The PSP versions, actually, the Greatest Hits label look almost identical. But, of course, I don't have any for examples here, but I just wanted to tell you about that. So if anybody's seen that favorites before, please, by all means, post a comment about that. I really would like to hear that. I also want to hear where you're from, so I can tell exactly where they're doing that promotion. But as you can see right here, I thought this might have been an issue, but as you can see in the lower corner, Region 1. So this is a United States and Canadian version of the game. But I'd never seen this label in the United States before. So I don't know. Please post a comment if you do. Thanks again, guys. Maniac out.